Mr. Transformers 96 here with our end of the year video. This time we have my ranking of the Hot Toys that I purchased in 2017. So I do this every year, just with all of the Hot Toys that I purchased. I rank them from my least favorite to my absolute favorite of the year. There was quite a few quite a few Hot Toys figures released this year, so there is plenty to rank. And yeah, so kind of a big list, but let's get started here. So my least favorite Hot Toy figure of the year has to be Drax from Guardians of the Galaxy. This figure took way too long to come out. It finally did, and unfortunately it was a bit of a disappointment. It's it's good in some areas, but I think that the facial expression is really dead. Probably the most dead face expression from any Hot Toys figure of the year so far that the ones that I picked up, as well as the arms aren't really in proportion to the body. His body isn't cut very nicely either. It's not a very well executed figure, and considering they had so much time to work on it, and it actually did go through a significant change, I would have expected it to be better, so that is definitely disappointing, and unfortunately it was my least favorite figure of the year. In 14th place, we have Black Panther. Overall, this is actually a pretty nice figure. I think the articulation is really excellent, especially with the skin-tight suit, and it does, cut, very striking figure. It does look very cool. But I didn't have, personally, a whole lot of fun with this figure, and I also don't want to pose it too much because you don't want to leave wrinkles in the suit. And then I think that it's ridiculous that you don't get a Chadwick Boseman head sculpt with this. I think that's an absolutely necessary accessory that really just, seems like Hot Toys cutting corners and making it so that you will buy two versions of Black Panther instead of just the one. So that does definitely rub me the wrong way. Overall, it's a solid figure, not one that I had a ton of fun with though, and I am very upset about the head sculpt. 13th spot goes to Suicide Squad, Tuxedo Joker. Overall, this is a solid figure. I do like it. There's just not a whole lot special going on. It's kind of a normal suited figure. I do like the head sculpt. I think that's very cool, although it is just a repaint. Now, I do not have the original version, the Arkham Asylum one, so it's not a repaint to me personally, which is why I really don't hold it against it. But if you did purchase the other Joker as well, if you had a Jared Leto Joker collection, this unfortunately would just be the same head sculpt, which is definitely disappointing. It's a nice figure, just not a whole lot special, and I didn't do a whole lot with it, I have to say. And looking back at it, I could have probably skipped this figure and just stuck with the other Joker that I do have as well. Having it though is nice, so it's a nice figure, just nothing super exciting or special. 12th spot goes to the Diecast War Machine from Civil War. This is quite a nice figure. I do like it quite a bit. He comes with a decent amount of accessories, which I do think is great, especially all of the different interchangeable weapons for the arms. Really have a lot of fun with that. It's a very expensive figure, I personally, diecast is cool, but it's not my favorite. I'd much prefer plastic. I think plastic's just kind of easier to pose and everything, and the price increase just isn't worth it to me for diecast. But it's still cool that it is diecast. This is probably the last diecast figure I'm going to buy from Hot Toys unless there's a new character that they come out with that I need and it's only diecast. But yeah, this is a really solid figure. Pricing is the reason why I kind of keep it lower, and it's not super fun to pose because it's diecast, like I said as well, so that's another reason why it's not higher on this list. But this is a solid figure, and it's definitely the War Machine that I'm very happy to actually have in my collection. 11th place goes to Chewy. I do really like this Chewy figure in a lot of ways. I love the fur. I think that it's really well sculpted. Their articulation is good. It really looks just like the movie, except the head sculpt. The face sculpt is definitely disappointing. Has almost like a teddy bearish dog type of look to it, rather than something more accurate to the film, which is definitely unfortunate, especially considering the rest of this figure is really spot on. I love the fur. I think that it looks great and really looks natural and realistic, and it doesn't hinder articulation too, which is just really special as well. So this figure really excels, beyond excels in some areas, but then in other areas, and unfortunately important areas, it doesn't quite hit the mark, which is why it's, towards the bottom of this list. Next up is Harley Quinn from Suicide Squad. This is surprising to me. This is one of my most anticipated figures of the year, and it's a good figure. It really is. I don't have much to complain about it with. It's just personally, I didn't do much with this figure. I don't know why. Maybe I just got it in at the wrong time or something. But I got it out of the package, and I kind of posed it a little bit, put her in a nice stance, and then put her on the shelf, and haven't done a single thing with her since. I didn't even do a review of this one, which is definitely a shame. I think that the fact that her legs are kind of rubber they have like a rubber coating over them. Makes me worried about posing the legs, which makes the figure a little less fun. So that might be the case. However, I do think that this is a really nice figure in general, and the face sculpt a lot of people complain about. I personally really like the face sculpt. I love expressions, and this is a very extreme expression, and Harley Quinn is a very expressive, extreme person, so I think that it fits her perfectly. So overall, I really love this figure. It's just I didn't do a whole lot with it, and therefore I didn't have a ton of fun, so it kind of gets a mid-range on this list. The 9th place goes to the Joker. This is the kind of purple jacket version of the Joker. This was actually a really fun one. I did enjoy it. It's the jacket was cool and has a wire in it, which I really wasn't expecting. I think that the sculpt itself is very nice. Like I said, I like expressive head sculpts. This is definitely a creepy expressive head sculpt that does fit this character pretty nicely, and I do like the fact that you kind of have two different looks if you want with the jacket on or with it off. He comes with quite a few accessories, which is really fun, especially since I did pick up the exclusive version. And yeah, this was just a really fun figure. Its articulation is limitless as far as it's not hindered by the clothing at all. The torso is limited, but the actual clothing doesn't limit the articulation in the slightest, basically. So it makes it a fun figure. There's a lot to do with it, and I did have fun with it. 8th place goes to Jyn Erso from Rogue One. Really did like this figure. This was a figure that I debated about getting, like which Rogue One figures to get. This is the only Rogue One figure I got that was, like of the main team and things like that. So I'm very happy to actually get the figure, though. She turned out quite nice. I do like the head sculpt. I don't think it's perfect, but getting it in person, it is better than the pre-order pictures of it, I must say. Articulation is quite good, especially around the upper body there, and I do love how many accessories she comes with, especially the clothing accessories. You can really have her in a bunch of different poses and stances and looks with those different outfits, which is very fun. So this figure does have a nice ability to stay fresh, because there's so much that you can do with it, and different positions and looks to put her in as well. So overall, I did enjoy this figure quite a bit. And next we have the last Hot Toys figure that I got in 2017, and that is Baby Groot. Baby Groot is very cute. It's kind of in a different league as the other Hot Toys figures, because it's actually like a life-size piece. It's not, in scale with the other Hot Toys figures. But as a figure on its own, it's extremely fun. I do like it a lot. It's just as good quality-wise as the adult Groot, which was one of my favorite figures of the year when that one was released. This one is basically just as good as that. I think it does lack some accessories. However, it does come with a lot of accessories, and I do love the multiple expressive face sculpts that he comes with, and then the fact that he comes with the Ravager costume is great as well. So this is a really fun little figure, and it's kind of unique from the others, which is nice. 6th place goes to Deadshot from Suicide Squad. This was actually a really nice figure. I did enjoy it quite a bit. The articulation is pretty top-notch on it too, which is very cool. I do love all the different weapons and accessories, and then the fact that he comes with 2 head sculpts, both of which are really nice. Like, I do like it when a Hot Toys figure comes with 2 head sculpts, and when you don't know exactly which one to use, because they're both really good. So I do definitely love that aspect. The only complaint that I have about it, like serious complaint, is the fact that his arms are a little too skinny. It allows for good articulation, but it isn't quite in scale, and it looks a little strange in some positions. But overall, this was a really fun figure. My favorite Suicide Squad figure that was released, because I did pick up 4 Suicide Squad figures this year. This one happens to be my favorite. Taking that 5th spot is the Batman Arkham Knight version. So this is a really actually, beautiful looking figure. I think that it looks fantastic. It really looks like it just popped out of the game, which is great. The articulation is decent in some areas. It is hindered in others though, but it's less hindered than I was expecting overall. And he does come with a nice amount of accessories too. So this is a really solid figure. Not a ton that you can do with it because of the restrictive articulation, and you don't want to put wrinkles in it and things like that. So it's somewhat restricted as far as the fun ability of it in some regards, but overall this is a really solid, well-executed figure, definitely deserving a pretty nice spot on this list. That 4th spot goes to the Star-Lord figure from Guardians of the Galaxy 2. This was a figure that I kind of upgraded on. I had the first one. The first one actually went up in price, and this figure looked so much better that I decided to sell the first one and pay, it paid fully for the deluxe version, plus I got a little extra on the side too. So it was a fantastic trade for me personally. I was very happy with it, and getting the figure in my collection, I did not disappoint. This is an excellent figure. I really enjoyed the first Star-Lord, and this figure has just about everything the first one had, but a lot more too. You have multiple multiple different outfits to display him with a lot of different looks, which I think is very cool. I'm putting together like a custom Kit Bash second version of him, just so that I can display him in a different look, because he comes with so much extra clothes, which I think, and an extra head sculpt too, which I think is great. And the articulation, or the accessories on this guy really make him perfect. I mean, he just comes with every accessory that you could want. There's really not anything I can think of in particular that I would really want from Star-Lord that this one doesn't have. So I'm very happy with this figure. Definitely deserving a very high spot on this list. It's just, it's solid from all angles, which is great. Third spot goes to Han Solo. This is an excellent figure. This is one that I was very much excited for, especially when it was first shown. You could really see that face sculpt. It looked fantastic. Getting it in person did not disappoint. The face sculpt is wonderful. I think the figure itself has the simplicity to it, but it doesn't feel dull because of it. He's excellently well crafted. He's got the kind of almost like a faded kind of yellowish shirt, which I do love. I think that it gives it a classic kind of vintage look almost, and you know, that's reflective of the character, which I kind of like. I do love the fact that you do get 2 sets of coats to really change up his look too, which is very fun. And this is just an excellent figure. It doesn't have any limits on articulation for the most part too, which is another plus. So just overall, I mean, especially with the face sculpt, it's one of the best face sculpts. You know, I didn't think about this before making this list, but I think it's my favorite face sculpt that was released this year in 2017 from Hot Toys. So I absolutely love it. It's fantastic and perfect from all angles, and overall really did enjoy this Han Solo figure. Second place goes to Doctor Strange. Did consider giving it first place, however, I do think that it does fit in second place. This is an excellent figure, again, with the face sculpts. I did really love this face sculpt. You know, at the end, I guess I'll talk about kind of my favorite face sculpts of the year, but I think this is one of the best as well. I think the tailoring on the costume is spectacular. It's very ornate, a lot going on here, and they didn't mess it up at any layer, which is great. The cloak is wonderful as well. I do love the fact that it does have a wire and made it very fun to pose, and then he just comes with a slew of accessories, really all that you could want. This is, you know, what I consider almost a perfect figure. I think that they nailed this one. It's fantastic. I really do love it. So it almost made it to number 1. However, there is one figure that I do consider my favorite from 2017 from Hot Toys. And my favorite Hot Toy from 2017 has to be Darth Vader from Rogue One. Really did love this Hot Toys figure, and it was like a surprisingly good figure. When this one on pre-order, I had no intentions of picking it up. I bought this simply because I went and saw Rogue One, and I was blown away by that amazing sequence in the film that I totally wasn't expecting. So as soon as that happened, I knew that I needed a Vader in my collection. I went and pre-ordered this one. I believe this might be the first figure that I actually purchased in 2017 too. So it's amazing that I got the best one right at the beginning. Not a single other figure was able to dethrone it from number 1. This is excellent. It's a fantastic, well-tailored figure. It has great proportions. I think that the cape is the best cape I've ever seen from Hot Toys, and I'd say from any company. It has such a great weight to it. It hangs really nicely and naturally. You can really put it wherever you want it, and it has this excellent weight to it, and a natural stance in the way that it hangs. The articulation is top-notch as well, which is surprising considering you'd think that the costume would be very stiff, but the articulation is quite good, especially in the arms and the lower legs, and then the accessories are all great as well. I mean, you don't need a whole lot with this guy, but the accessories that you get are well needed in that regard. So overall, definitely my favorite Hot Toys figure of the year. It has a great presence to it, a fantastic shine, and just a real weight and gravitas. So I absolutely love this figure, and was super happy to get it in my collection. Alright, so there's my 2017 Hot Toys ranking. I did, again, purchase 15 figures in 2017 from Hot Toys, all of which I did really enjoy. Even my least favorite figure this year had issues, but it's decent. You know, I do still like the fact that it's in my collection. But overall, really did enjoy all of these figures. They're all fun and cool in their own unique way. Darth Vader, of course, deserves that number 1 spot. However, a lot of the figures on this list were kind of hard to place because they're all pretty good, especially as I got higher on this list, or lower, however you want to look at it. It did become kind of difficult to place these because there were so many good figures this year and a ton to enjoy. So let me know what you guys think of my ranking. Let me know what you guys think of the Hot Toys that I purchased this year, and I'd love to hear your guys' ranking and what was your favorites and least favorite Hot Toys figures of the year. That would be great to know. So alright, that's my video, and thanks so much for watching.